Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. This man here, he's Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. You spell Gary, G-E-R-Y. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer from the Wendy's Big Show.
Wait to wall your audience with information.
Hey, I'm just trying to help out. Wendy's Big Show weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 at AM 1250 and 105.7 FM The Fan. And if you have an HD radio, like I just got in my new car, which I never had before, if you go to 103.7 KISS FM and go to the second channel, if you have HD radio, you know what I'm talking about, on that 103.7 KISS FM channel, you will get our station. And if you live in Kenosha and Racine and are like, man, I just can't figure out how to get that signal, I always have to use the app or stream it, that'll take care of your problem. It's crystal clear.
That's awesome.
You'll love it.
I'm so glad you told me that.
It's crystal clear.
I was absolutely unaware of that.
Yep, it's crystal clear, and you have no more issues. Now, Gery Woelfel, let's talk about the Bucks. This Bucks team got off to a horrible start, but now they get a win against a very bad Brooklyn Nets team that may be the worst team in the Eastern Conference probably by the end of this basketball season.
Do you think Jason Kidd knew what he was doing when he got out of Brooklyn?
I don't.
He saw the end was near, and he said, "Hey, I'm getting out of here before this train really comes to wreck."
I don't know what it was. I don't think that him and Billy King maybe got along.
I agree. That's
Billy
definitely
King and Larry Brown didn't really get along either. So I mean, I say whatever you want. I maybe the issue's Billy King. I have no idea. All I'm saying is I remember stories of Billy King and Larry Brown not necessarily being on the same page all the time. And then you get Jason Kidd with Billy King, and now they're not on the same page at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know Billy King at all, so I don't know if he's the issue or if
he's generally liked by most people in the NBA, but he's made some very questionable moves. The biggest of which, are you sitting down?
Yeah.
I want to make sure. As bad as it is for the Brooklyn Nets right now, and it's pretty bad, right? To me, it's like they're the second worst team in the NBA behind Philadelphia.
I think they may be worse than Philly.
Okay.
Okafor is going to be up.
Get this. Their number one pick next year is unprotected, and it goes to the Boston Celtics. Ouch. They could conceivably have...
It's not top three protected?
Nothing is protected.
And that's in that Garnett trade?
I'm pretty sure that's part of it. Yeah, I can't
or
remember.
Pierce?
But yeah. I mean, Boston has a ton of picks coming up in the next couple of years, but that one takes the cake. Then you talk about inept organizations, right?
Unbelievable. All right, so let's talk about this Bucks basketball team. This Bucks team right now finally gets Jabari Parker back. Now, against the Sixers, it'll be tonight as we're taping this here on Wednesday. You talk about him coming back and playing 15 to 20 minutes a game. Mm-hmm. What are you expecting to see from Jabari here in these 15 or 20 minutes a game?
I think he's going to take a conservative approach. I don't think you're going to see him wowing anybody with slam dunks or highlight.
He did. Remember in the scrimmage he had the big
dunk. He did. I think they're going to say, hey, just be relaxed, be patient, let the game come to you. I don't think he's going to force anything. I don't think he's going to be out there to win anybody over. This is going to be a process probably for about 2-3 weeks, but it's just fantastic that he's back on the floor, and this guy has a high ceiling. I talked to an advanced scout last week. He gave him an 8 on a 1 to 10 scale already, and he hasn't even played one full season, but he thinks that highly of Parker. So it's a huge development for the Bucks.
Another huge development is it looks like Giannis has gotten better. That is another huge development as well.
Yes, it is.
And the one thing about Giannis is, and I've been as critical of Giannis as anybody, but the one thing about Giannis is right now, he's averaging over 20 points per game through the first, he's only played 3 of the 4 games.
Ranks 10th in the NBA in scoring.
Right, but this is the thing. He's not forcing shots, Gary.
No, he's not.
I mean, he's not taking a bunch of bad shots. He's taking good shots, and the shots that he misses normally are right around the rim where on most nights he'll probably be able to finish that as the season goes on. So I think his field goal percentage might actually get better. Now, he's still taking that 3. It's not falling maybe the way he wants it to fall.
He's shooting it much better than a year ago.
Agreed. I mean, but you can tell from his form and the way the shot comes off his hand that he's going to hit that shot.
Absolutely.
And it's going to start falling.
Absolutely.
And when that happens, and now you have to come up and put your hands in his face to defend the 3, and he puts that ball on the ground and goes running past you, then there's big problems for everybody.
Well, you know, I may have brought this up on the Big Show a couple weeks ago, but on Media Day, he stood next to John Henson. And John Henson is a legitimate 6'10 and a half, okay? He was taller than Henson. And I asked Giannis if he's a 7-footer. He goes, no, I'm not a 7-footer. He's not a 7-footer. He is really close to being a 7-footer, which leads me to this. How many people that size can guard all 5 positions? I can only think of one guy.
I don't think he can either.
Oh, I don't have any doubts.
No.
I'm not saying you can put him on the point.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. He can't defend the
but yeah, exactly. But I think in stretches he could. For 3-4 minutes he could do it and get away with it. Depending upon who the point guard. If you have an ultra-quick point guard, no way.
Right.
But if you have a guy, let's say theoretically if he played against like a Michael Carter-Williams type, he doesn't blow by you. He could easily match up with him. So,
yeah, I
mean, his versatility is incredible.
Okay, you brought up Michael Carter-Williams.
Yeah.
He grabs his Achilles at the end of the last game against the Nets. I'm holding my breath because I'll tell you something right now. And it doesn't matter to me if you like Michael Carter-Williams or if you don't like Michael Carter-Williams. They need Michael Carter-Williams to play as the starting point guard in this basketball team. We've all watched Greivis Vasquez. I've watched Greivis Vasquez his whole career. Michael Carter-Williams gives them a better chance to win than Greivis Vasquez does as a starting point guard. As we talked about before, Vasquez may be a better shooter, even though he didn't hit one in the last game.
No.
But he's not as good of a distributor, I don't think, as Michael Carter-Williams. That's what they need at point.
I would have to disagree with that, especially last night, their last game. Vasquez dribbled the ball at the top of the gate over to the right wing, right? Yeah. The whole defense shifted over there, and his court vision was such that he spotted somebody in the left corner, and he threw a beautiful pass that led to an easy jump shot. Now, whether he can do that on a consistent basis, who knows? But I do like what I see from him as far as running the team.
Now, the other thing you have here is you have Tyler Ennis coming off of injury. He was my guy. I don't mind him either. It doesn't bother me. But we got him coming off of injury. That's another guard to go along with O.J. Mayo, who's going to be coming off of injury. That's another guy. I talked to Chris Middleton the other night after the game. He thought Henson and Mayo were close to both coming back. If Mayo comes back, I can't wait to see the guard distribution for minutes because you have so many guards on this team. I don't see who sits. I mean, I know Vaughn's not going to play. I know Damian Ingles ain't going to play. I'm guessing both will end up in the D-League is my guess at some point. So they're out. But now you still have a minutes problem between Michael Carter-Williams, Vasquez, Ennis. Then you have Middleton, Mayo, and Jared Bayless.
And the way Jared Bayless played the other night, he might be the best of the whole group.
No.
Oh, I mean, for one. No, I agree with you.
No.
But I have said this from the start of the season. Something will give, and by the trading deadline in February, if not sooner, either Mayo's going to be gone or Bayless is going to be gone.
There's no way they trade Bayless.
There's talk all over the league that they would push either one of those guys. So we'll see if there's a taker out.
They move Bayless for like a 1, which they are getting.
They're not going to get anything for either one.
Right. Well, then you're not trading the coach's favorite player. They ain't trading Jared Bayless, man. That's Jason Kidd's guy. They hang out at the summer league together. That's his guy. They ain't trading him. Mayo, see ya. That could very well happen. But again, for that to happen, he's got to play well.
I think they'd like to get another big guy.
Sure.
Somebody that could play maybe 10, 15 minutes a game.
Correct.
And there's probably some teams that would be willing to do that.
And I want somebody that's physical.
And Bayless, I mean, if Bayless continues to play well, I mean, he had his career game the other night. We can't expect that. But if he plays well, that interest is definitely going to jack up by the time the deadline rolls around.
I don't see how you can convince Jason Kidd to trade him. I just do not. Unless you... No, it's not happening. I'm just going to say there's zero chance that happens.
Remember how in love they were with Brandon Knight leading up to
it's not the same thing. Kidd hangs out with this dude off the court. It's not the same thing. These guys are friends. And there's something to be said about that. You want, as a head coach... You want somebody that can tell you what's going on with that team. Somebody that you can trust. Jared Bayless is that guy for a kid. He trusts Bayless on team chemistry, what the team needs, team doesn't need, and they obviously get along. I mean, you saw that summer league, just hanging out together in Vegas.
Hey, let me just say this. Scott Williams and George Karl were best of friends. Did that prevent them from making a trade?
That's a good point.
Thank you.
And how did that work out?
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I'm not equating.
It blew up in their face.
I'm not equating those two guys.
No, but it's similar from the aspect of Scott Williams wasn't a great basketball player.
Correct.
Jared Bayless isn't a great basketball player.
Correct.
Scott Williams was a glue and a leader in that locker room that they couldn't afford to let go, and was a guy that had the coach's ear that the coach trusted.
Absolutely.
And once he left, he no longer had that ally.
Right.
You're going to let Bayless go, then who's your guy? See, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. That's another reason not to trade him. And again, I'm not a huge Bayless guy.
Yeah.
I think he's a good role player on a good team.
And in the infamous words of Jason Kidd, it's a business.
Nope, not in this case. Nope. Everybody's got friends. And that guy is not trading Jared Bayless. Now, John Hammond, they want to, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Can we hold on to this film for about 3 months?
Fine.
That we'll revisit it.
Fine. I think they trade Mayo, but I don't think they'll trade Bayless. He's Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. Can we please play Rashad Vaughn? Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
For the first time, I agree with you. Thank you.
Just please. He's the one guy that can score off the bench on this team. We'll talk to you next time here on Sports Junkies at RacineSportso.com.